It would help if I actually added myself into the stream so you could see me. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Tommy Hensel. Many of you I know. So I would just want to say hello to all of my friends who I haven't seen in a long time, but also a new hello to all of you who I haven't met yet. I'm excited that Laura has asked me to help her host a Pampered Chef party this week. So I always like to try to kick off the party either on a Monday or right in the middle of the party like this with some kind of live demo so we can feel like we're all together cooking, which we will soon be able to do again, please. Just so you know, as I'm working on this, I've got the camera in front of me, but I have the computer here, so I will have to occasionally turn over to look at things. I'm going to try to monitor the comments as best as possible. If you did not give StreamYard your permission to use your account, you can still post, but what I'm going to see is just the words Facebook user with your comment. So if you think about it, put your name in a comment so that I'll know who I'm talking to if I actually see a comment and need to move forward and answer a question. So I'm excited tonight. One of the things that Laura and I talked about was that as we're putting this party together, first of all, we wanted to have at least some St. Patrick's Day theme going. So the cocktail tonight is a St. Patrick's Day themed cocktail. I did pull out my one and only piece of green clothing, I think, and I turned my light green for you. But definitely tonight there are two things that are green enough to be St. Patrick's Day dishes, the cocktail and one of the appetizers. Also, Laura and I talked about the idea of people who might be lactose intolerant. And one of the things that she noted, which I have also noted, is that almost every recipe for an appetizer or a dip out there involves cheese or sour cream or cream cheese. So I tried to come up with some recipes for you tonight that didn't have any dairy. One of them has optional dairy that I'll talk about when we get to it. So without further ado, we're going to start, of course, with the most important part of the demo, which is the cocktail portion of the demo. I looked online for a lot of different recipes for St. Patrick's Day themed cocktails. Many of them use creme de menthe, which I don't love. And there are other variations that make it green. But Midori, which is a melon flavored liqueur, is naturally green. So what we're going to do tonight is make this recipe for a shamrock martini. I tried different variations of it, so I'm going to give you the basic recipe, and then you can play with it yourself. So what we have as the base of the cocktail, first of all, is Midori and vodka, and then citrus juice. I'm using orange juice tonight, which is the first recipe I found. I tried it 3 different times. Hard, I have to do research, right? So I tried it and used orange juice in one, I used lemon juice in another, and I used lime juice in the last one. My favorite one was the lime juice because I love that flavor. What I found with the lemon and the lime is that you need to dial back just a little bit on that in the cocktail because it will overpower the Midori. So the recipe I'm going to give you first is for the traditional one with orange juice. I think it works great as an equal parts cocktail, equal parts of everything, so it's impossible to forget the quantity, you just use the same. I'm using a 6-ounce martini glass tonight. I've rimmed it with green sugar for you. To mimic the Irish flag, you would use orange sugar maybe, but tonight I only had green. So I'm using green and I'm gonna garnish it with an orange wedge, so we do get a little bit of that St. Patrick's Day feel. This is a cocktail that uses citrus juice, a fruit juice in it. So here's the kind of deal with cocktails. If a cocktail is spirit forward, like a martini that's all spirits, a Manhattan, anything like that, you should stir that cocktail because you do not want to dilute the flavors too much. So those are better stirred. If you use fruit juice in a cocktail, including citrus, like in a margarita or like in this cocktail, you should shake that cocktail because it takes a little more vigor to incorporate those ingredients. It's kind of like when you use oil and vinegar in a salad dressing. In order for those to emulsify, you need to really shake them together. Same thing with fruit juices and alcohol. You need to combine them. And a little bit of the dilution from the water just helps to smooth out the edges of the cocktail. So without further ado, we're going to make this cocktail. Equal parts. So tonight, we're going to do equal parts of Midori. And for this 6-ounce martini glass, I'm using 1.5 ounces of each ingredient. So it'll be a 4.5-ounce martini. And what did I do? Oh, you know what? It would be helpful if I had the jigger that I forgot to take out of the freezer. I keep all of my metal cocktail implements in the freezer at all times because, hey, you know, it's got to be cold. So we're going to measure out 1.5 ounces of Midori. And there's ice in the cocktail shaker. So there's the Midori. There we go. We're going to use 1.5 ounces of vodka. Tonight I'm using Hangar 1, which is one of my favorite vodkas, because I just finished my last bottle of Absolute making all the demos yesterday. So 1.5 ounces of vodka. There we go. Put that back. And then 1.5 ounces of freshly squeezed orange juice. And I didn't strain it, so there may be, which I should have done, so there may be just a little bit of pulp. I'm hoping there's not too much. 1.5 ounces. All right. I'm going to be making another cocktail at the end of the demo in case there are people who came in late. For this first cocktail, I am going to ensure that it is a St. Patrick's Day cocktail by putting 1 tiny drop of green food coloring. That's all it needs. For the last one, I'm not going to, so you'll be able to see the difference. It's still going to be green, the second cocktail, but it's going to be more of like a lime green, not a deep green. So you've got all the ingredients in your cocktail shaker. All you need to do at this point is just shake. As long as you feel like you want to shake your cocktail, this towel keeps falling. All right, that's probably enough. All right, here we go. Four and a half ounces is just enough to make a really nice pour in a 6-ounce martini glass. And then you would garnish it with an orange wedge. So there we have our Shamrock Martini to start off our demo tonight. Simple, 3 ingredients, all equal parts. Let me taste test to make sure that it's okay. Ooh, very nice. It's a little on the sweet side, which is fine if you like sweet cocktails. And of course, there's sugar on the rim. I tend to like tartar cocktails. So here's the deal with if you use lemon or lime. I would say do not make it equal parts. Do 1.5 ounces of vodka, 1.5 ounces of Midori, and 1 ounce of lemon or lime. And that, I think, is going to be a better balance with the tart, especially if you've got the sugar on the rim. But this is a beautiful cocktail. And you'll notice when I make the second one later, like I said, it's still going to be green, but without that hit of vibrant green. But I think that's a beautiful, quick and easy cocktail to make for St. Patrick's Day. Yum. I'm going to check. We have some comments here. Oh, yep. So thank you to everyone who's saying cheers. So quick cheers. I'm going to take a sip. That really is a nice cocktail. I was telling Laura that you could garnish it with, in season with honeydew melon because you want something green. You want green and orange. It's a St. Patrick's Day cocktail. So, hey, just go for it. Find something fun to garnish it with. So I need to move this away and reset for a second so I can show you our first food demo. So I'm going to play a quick video for you. And when the video is done, it's very short, I'll come back and we're going to start with the first of our 2 dips tonight, the one that's actually made with tofu. Don't cringe. Tofu can actually be tasty if you know what you're doing with it. So we're going to be back in about 1.5 minutes, and we're going to start looking at the tofu dip. almost made it. I feel like I'm one of those cartoon characters that's on fast motion when I'm trying to reset between demos. So I'm rushing around. I'm going to pull the comments back up. Okay, so tonight this is an interesting recipe that I'm getting ready to show you. Initially, when I developed this recipe, it was based on many different vegan cookbooks and vegetarian cookbooks. Were giving recipes for the base for what would be a vegan version of a gratin, like an au gratin potatoes. So this dip, actually, I'm going to show you where to stop in the process, where it becomes the base for a gratin. And then you only add 2 more minor ingredients to smooth it out and it becomes a dip. And I'm going to show you, I made a casserole a couple of days ago that I just stuck in the refrigerator and I was going to reheat it for dinner. Well, I was going to do it tonight, but now I'm going to have all this extra food. But I'll show you the casserole. So essentially, it's the same exact ingredients, whether you're using it as a dip or as the base for a gratin. And this is one that is vegan unless you use yogurt, and I am going to use yogurt tonight. What I'm using to make it tonight is this nifty little manual food processor from Pampered Chef. I love this because it's about 3 cups or a little more. It's great for making small quantities of things. Also, because I've got things plugged in over here. My nearest plug is back there. So if I had to plug in a food processor for this very small amount of stuff, it would be a big pain, and I'd be running around looking for extension cords and power strips, and who wants that in their kitchen? This is also great if you are a camper. You can take this camping. It's awesome for that. Or just anywhere where electricity is not going to be quick and easy to find. So I want to keep an eye out. There you go. All right, so we're starting with 8 ounces of tofu. What you want to use, I did all the prep earlier, so if you've got if you're cooking along with me, sorry, I'm kind of moving fast, but you should be able to catch up. This is regular tofu. This dip is excellent with silken tofu because then you don't really need to add a lot of extra liquid. Regular tofu works great when you add a little bit of liquid. Do not use firm tofu on this because it will never get to the consistency you want, or not easily. So just regular tofu, 8 ounces. And the nifty little manual food processor goes on. And you start first by, oops, move it back so we can see it. I just like to start, the technical term is mushing the tofu. I'm mushing the tofu. I wanted to get it kind of mushy before I add anything else. So I've chopped it up just a little bit. Now, what I'm adding in next is a ½ cup of Greek yogurt. If you're going vegan, use water. It's perfectly fine with water instead of yogurt. But I tend to like the flavor and the consistency that I get from Greek yogurt. All right. Thank God I have this dishwasher right here in front of me. Whenever I do one of these demos, I end up using like every one of these like Pampered Chef prep bowls that I have. I have dozens of them, but I use them all. All right, so I've incorporated the sour cream, or not sour cream, the Greek yogurt in there. Now, this is 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 tablespoon of sesame tahini, and 1 tablespoon of miso. My favorite brand of miso is this one called Miso Master Organic. This is excellent, and it's the red miso. I think I get this, I may have bought this at Trader Joe's, but you can certainly find it at Whole Foods, and I think a lot of other grocery stores. Miso and tahini are 2 things that if you're going to cook vegan and vegetarian, you must add to your pantry because you're going to use them in so many recipes. So I'm going to incorporate this into the little manual food processor. Let's try to get all of it in there. All right. All right. It'll take just a minute to incorporate. So this point in the process, if you were going to use this as the base for a vegan version of a vegetable gratin, you would stop after you've incorporated this. You would add 1 teaspoon of flour, incorporate that, and then you would pour it over the top of the vegetables. And I'll show you the casserole. I made this a couple of days ago. Like I said, I'm going to be eating it the next day. It doesn't look amazing when it's cool, but you can see that it browns up and it gets really firm. So it actually does duplicate the same kind of thing that you would get from a creamy, cheesy gratin sauce, but it's all vegan instead. For the casserole, you need 4 cups of any steamed vegetables that you like. Preferably vegetables that are a little bit firm. You don't want to use something squishy like squash because it will get all mushy. But potatoes, celery, carrots, green beans, celeriac, I love celery root. Any of those, steam them, refresh them under cold water, throw them in a casserole dish, put this sauce on them, and stick them in a 400-degree oven for 20 minutes, and poof, you've got a veggie casserole or vegan casserole. But today, we're actually looking at this as a dip. You'll notice it's not quite to dip consistency. It's almost there. So what it needs now, since I'm not going to use it as a gratin, is about a tablespoon of tamari. If you don't have tamari, soy sauce is fine. Tamari is generally gluten-free, so that's always a bonus. And I like, for a dip, I like to put just a little bit of vegetable oil in there to help smooth it out. That's probably about a teaspoon of vegetable oil. And a little hint of cracked black pepper. All right. This little food processor thing I love is great for making pico de gallo or salsa because it chops really, really easily. All right, there we go. So here, I'm gonna grab a spoon from behind me. There we go. So obviously, I'm not going to plate all of it. It's a great dip. You can use this on pita wedges. You can dip pretty much anything you want to in it. Veggies are great. I need to taste test. That's just so nice. It's not overpoweringly salty. The miso gives it just enough salt. The sesame tahini gives it that little bit of sesame flavor. But overall, this is an amazing dip that if you don't tell people that it's vegan, they probably won't know, and they'll love it, and they'll eat all of it on their veggies. So there you go. A vegan tofu dip that can be dairy-free if you use water instead of yogurt. So let me see if we have... yeah, actually, the veggie gratin is a really cool recipe. Since someone mentioned it. Oh, somebody mentioned they sell plain soy yogurt, so you could substitute soy yogurt because really, I mean, the water is going to reduce the flavor a little bit. So if you can find a yogurt, that's great. And there's vegan yogurt, so that's awesome. And the veggie gratin is awesome. If you want the full recipe for the veggie gratin, just drop me a message or direct message or put it in the Facebook group, and I'll post that, because that was the recipe I did at my last cooking demo. So there we have it. We have a really nice tofu dip as our number 2 out of 4. I do like that cocktail. It's growing on me. So what I'm going to do now is play another video for you while I reset, and we're going to go into the green pea hummus, air quotes, because it's not really hummus, but it kind of is. So let me grab a video for you, and I'll be back in just a minute.
Hi, I'm Sandy, and as a registered dietitian, I'm always looking for ways to help people eat better without abandoning the recipes they love. That's why I'm so excited about Enrichables. We all have our routines and the list of foods we know our family will eat. If you're a busy mom like me, it's a win when everyone is happy during dinner. And it's a bonus when I know my family is getting the nutrients they need. Enrichables couldn't be easier to use. We've made it so you can add a boost to almost any recipe you make. With nutritional powders like Enrichables, your first thought is probably smoothies. And yes, these make some awesome smoothies, but Enrichables go way beyond that. I like adding more fiber into my family's taco night. I know my family doesn't always get enough fiber, so this is a great way to help meet their nutritional needs and keep their guts healthy. And I like to add a little protein to my kid's favorite mac and cheese to help him stay full and get him the protein he needs. I can even get a boost into baked goods. You can feel good about using plant-based Enrichables in your family's meals because they're soy-free, vegan, gluten-free, non-GMO, dairy-free, and made without nuts. This makes Enrichables a great choice, especially for families with food allergies or dietary restrictions. Enrichables are a game changer. They give me the reassurance that my family is eating well while enjoying all the foods that we love. Whether you have picky eaters at home or you're just looking to fill in some of your own nutrient gaps, Enrichables can help. Once you start using them, you'll see just how easy it is to boost your everyday meals.
So I'm back. The Enrichables some of them come in bigger containers that you can scoop out, but they also come in these nifty little half-ounce packets that each have 10 grams of protein. So you can add it into so I'm being like sneaky cook. I have friends who hate vegetables. My friend Lisa, who none of you actually probably know because she's local to me here in Chicago, she and her husband literally won't eat anything green. They just won't. So if I ever had them over for dinner and had to serve chili or something, I would probably be sneaky and put this in because they wouldn't be able to taste it and they might actually get some vegetable, goodness out of life. But, there you go. So picky eaters won't even know it's there. Haha, there you go. All right. So tonight we're going to be using the Pampered Chef cooking blender. The thing that I love the most about this for me is making soup, because I've been a diehard fan of the Vitamix for 25 years, and I had a Vitamix for almost 25 years that finally, I swear, it still works, but towards the end, before I replaced it with this, it sounded like an airplane taking off. I think all of my neighbors on any side of me knew whenever I made a smoothie in the morning because it basically would shake the building. So it was time to get rid of it. And this I love because unlike the Vitamix, this actually has a cooking function. So if I were going to make soup, I could put all the raw ingredients in, use the soup function on the front, and it would puree it all together and cook it. And in about a half hour, you have soup. Today, we're going to use the grind function. Now, most of you know hummus is a chickpea-based dip. So it's really easy to make because normally it's chickpeas with some tahini and lemon juice and maybe some spices. But one of the things I learned from a chef here in Chicago at a cooking demo, gosh, maybe 10 years ago, she said, look, I've got this great recipe that if you're in a hurry and you have people coming over and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to make? I don't have anything. And she goes, most of us probably have a bag of frozen peas in the freezer. She goes, take a pound bag of frozen peas, run them under water so that they start to thaw, throw them in a food processor and put these other ingredients in and poof, you've got dip. And that's pretty much what we're doing tonight. So really easy. This is a 1 pound bag of frozen peas that I have run under water. And I'm just gonna throw them in. Whoops, what did I do with mine? Oh, I'll put them behind me. Throw that into the blender. So step one. The next thing is a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Just pour it all in. I love these little nifty measure all cups because this is the tiny version. I've got bigger ones back here. There's a small and a medium and a large. But you can measure wet ingredients on one side and then dry ingredients on the other side, and then push the dry ingredients out. It actually is really handy. So that's a quarter cup of olive oil. You need 1 garlic clove. I'm going to do 2 different ways of garlic. This is just a nifty little garlic peeler thing from Pampered Chef. You put the garlic clove in, and then just roll it, and it comes off, and you've got garlic. My other favorite thing is I love the garlic press. This is an unpeeled clove of garlic. I'm putting it in, and it will basically still express the garlic out. You use this little thing there, and in order to clean it and get the garlic out, you've got these little bumps that fit into the bottom, and it basically pushes the peel up. I love the little garlic press. The recipe calls for 1 clove of garlic. I put 2 because I like garlic. This is 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And I'm just going to put a couple of pinches of salt in there. I can always correct the flavor later. Oh, here's my pepper. Freshly cracked black pepper. All right. So you put it on and turn it. It will tell you that it's locked. And here I'm looking for, canceling it. Let's see. Oh. Sorry. I messed it up by pressing the wrong button, so I'm canceling it now. You know, here I am demoing something that I should know better than this because I actually just messed it up, sorry. There we go. Grind. All right, so I'm only going to take a little bit of this out. We have there we go. Ooh, that's good. Another dip for you. All it is frozen peas, thawed out just a little bit, garlic, olive oil, salt, pepper, done. So really quick and easy. The cool thing about this dip is there are great variations for it. For instance, if you like mint, because minted peas are a thing, kind of minted mushy peas, you can add about 1/2 cup of chopped mint and maybe 2 ounces or so of feta cheese to this. Blend it all together and you've got a minty, cheddary version of it. Also, maybe a couple of ounces of grated Romano or grated Parmesan cheese with some extra cracked black pepper. So you can adjust the flavor profile of this dip any way you want. Now, what I'm going to do after this demo is done and it's time for me to figure out what I'm going to have for dinner is I'm actually going to turn this into pea soup, because I know then I can eat some and then freeze the rest of it. So what I'm going to do is add about 2 cups of water, some bouillon, and hit the soup function and let it make pea soup for me, because that way I can then eat some for dinner tonight, maybe have some tomorrow, and then freeze the rest in batches so that I can have it later. But anyway, this is your dip. I'm going to put this behind so we can look at it again later. That is the quick and easy pea hummus recipe. Hey, Adele, I'm glad you got here. So I'm going to make a cocktail for you again later. Yeah, somebody mentioned that I've never heard of a heated blender. Me either. When this came out and I saw the specs on it, I was like, what? What? You mean I can actually throw raw ingredients in and press a button and in half an hour I have soup? And I'm a huge fan of butternut squash soup. So for me, the idea of being able to and I tend to like to roast my butternut squash before I make it into soup because I think it helps the flavor. But you can chop up a whole butternut squash, roast it, throw it in here with some liquid and maybe some stock and garlic or whatever, and turn it on, and in a half hour it beeps and tells you it's done and you have soup. Woo-hoo. So sorry, Vitamix, you've gone away, and I'm replacing you with the Pampered Chef product. So, all right, cool. So let me pop over to brand for a second. All right, I'm gonna throw up another quick video for you while I bring out the stuff for the smoked salmon, and we will then move on. So let's see, what's a good video? Oh, we'll do this one. This is a cool new product. I almost faded again. I need to start learning how to move faster. All right. All right. So when Laura asked me to come up with an idea for appetizers that didn't involve dairy, I had to rack my brain, and I was like, oh my God, every recipe I could think of, baked brie, and something with cream cheese, and on and on. Then I suddenly thought, one of the things I've made for parties before are smoked salmon terrines. And essentially it's just layered stuff with smoked salmon. Normally I would layer the salmon, put a little salmon in, and then a layer of cream cheese. And then maybe one of the ingredients that you would put with smoked salmon, like eggs or capers or something, and then a little more salmon, a little more cream cheese, and I would layer it up with cheese. And then I thought, well, okay, no cheese, what can we do? So I came up with this recipe, and in full disclosure, today is the first time I've ever made it, so this way. So you're gonna see in a minute whether it worked or not, because behind me I have the one that I made this morning that's been chilling in the refrigerator. But I'm gonna show you how I did it, because I think it's a really cool process. It's gonna taste great. I'm just not sure if it's gonna gel, because I didn't use any mayonnaise. I decided to see if the ingredients themselves would bind together in the terrine without additional binding agent. Now, if this falls apart when I cut it, then we will know the next time we make it to add a little mayonnaise into some of the layers. But we're going to start with how I built it today. So what I'm starting with is, this is a 1 cup of food prep bowl from Pampered Chef. I would say if you don't have these food prep bowls, you can use anything that's round like this. It will give you a domed look, whether it's flatter or whatever. But basically what you want is something, this would be enough for 1 person as a large appetizer, or for 2 people to share. You could go with the 2 cup or the 3 cup version if you were doing this for like a small hors d'oeuvre tray before dinner with a bunch of people, or a larger one for a party. You could even do a big one. It would just take a lot more smoked salmon, obviously. But I'm using 1 cup. So I've lined it first with cling film because it's going to make it easier to take it out in a minute. So the first thing you're going to do is get your smoked salmon. And you're going to take the smoked salmon and you're going to lay it in so that it overlaps the edge just a little bit like that. And you're going to go, oh, that's a good chunk of it there. You're going to go all the way around with that. What you're basically doing is creating a kind of a dome out of salmon. You can use as little or as much salmon. I'm actually using a pretty hefty amount here because I love smoked salmon. And since I'm going to end up having to eat this, I want to make sure that I'm going to enjoy it. Here we go. There we go. Poof. Let's see. There we are. All right. So we've got the smoked salmon all the way around. If you've got little gaps, you can put some of these little bits and pieces of salmon to cover the gaps. All right, there we go. Smoked salmon. Oops. How easy is the grill to clean? You mean the new grill, the one that opens up and it has both sides? I don't know who this is because I just see Facebook user. It's super easy to clean because they give you some cleaning implements, but also it's dishwasher safe. So it's pretty easy to clean. Send me a message on Facebook though, and I think I have access to a couple of videos that actually show the cleaning process so you can actually see it. So I'm not sure who this is who asked that question about the grill, but send me a message. All right, so this is the point where you think to yourself, okay, if I were gonna have a bagel with smoked salmon, bagels and lox, you know, what would I put on that bagel besides cream cheese? So, you know, what are some of the standard things? Capers, onions, chopped up hard-boiled egg, different things. And so today I picked some things that I like that I would put on a smoked salmon bagel. So I'm going to start first with olives. When these get chopped up, they're going to be about a 1/4 cup of olives. And I'm using my handy little Pampered Chef food chopper for this. This is going to fall off and drive me crazy, so I'm just going to get rid of it. All right. I'm by myself in my house, and I'm the only one eating it, so I'm using my hands. So don't judge. If you have people that are worried about your fingers touching their food, there are ways to like spoon this in, but you're good. Press it down. Now, if I were doing a traditional terrine, I would put some cream cheese on top of that right now and then another layer, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to use the ingredients. All right. Second, I have little grape tomatoes here. What you want is, if you're going to use tomatoes, it's about a 1/4 cup of chopped tomatoes, whatever kind of tomatoes you have. And I'm just going to keep using the same food chopper, even though it may have a little bit of olive in there, because we're incorporating all this anyway. All right, there's our tomato. We're going to press that in. And finally, as I was experimenting today with this, I think the next layer is going to be egg. I think about a half of a hard-boiled egg is just enough. So I'm going to chop up a half of this hard-boiled. I'm going to use the one that has more yolk. A half of the hard-boiled egg. This is super easy to clean, by the way, because this comes off, this comes out, and this opens up. So you can put this in the dishwasher or you can wash it, but you can easily get in there with a brush. So it's actually super easy to clean. All right, we're going to put a layer of hard-boiled egg in there. And then my final layer that's going to end up being on the bottom of the tureen is roasted red pepper. You can go out and buy roasted red peppers and put them in here. Honestly, roasting your own red peppers is the easiest thing in the world. You cut them in half, de-seed them, of course, cut them in half, stick them on a baking sheet in a 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes or so. They start to brown, the skin starts to brown. Take them out, let them cool so you can touch them, not till they're super cold, and the skin will peel right off and poof, you got it. And I found one piece that was like still kind of intact. So I thought that would be kind of fun to just throw on the top of my salmon tureen. All right, which is actually the bottom of my salmon tureen. Then you take the salmon that's hanging over the edges and you fold it in. You can use the cling film to help you with this if you want. Press it down and then bring the cling film up. Press it down again. If you're using one of these specific Pampered Chef bowls, you can then put the actual lid on it and put it in the refrigerator. We're going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to show you, I hope it works, because otherwise I'm going to be really embarrassed on live television. All right, I've chopped up, I used the little tiny Persian cucumbers. So I put a nice ring of cucumber around a plate. Any kind of cucumbers will do. This was the tureen I made earlier today. And I let it chill for a few hours. So what I'm going to do is now invert it on the plate. And it's going to take a second because there we go. I'm going to push the cucumbers back in. And I've got a little piece of cucumber end that I can put on top so that it's kind of fun. You know, alternately, I thought maybe a little twist of lemon for color. So there you have it. First presentation. There's a salmon tureen. I used the same ingredients this morning that I used tonight. So that's what it looks like first. But now the big reveal. Please let this work. I'm going to try a quarter. Oops. I have to make sure I cut all the way through because there's salmon on the bottom. There we are. I'm having a hard time serving today. What I should be using is a little serving spatula. There we go. All right. So we have layers. You can see the layer that now is on the top is the olives, the tomatoes, the eggs, and at the bottom, the roasted red pepper. Like I said, this is a decent amount, and I'm obviously going to have to take one for the team and taste test this to see how it tastes. That's awesome. It's all those flavors stayed separate, so they didn't mush together, but they meld together as you're eating it. It's really bright and crunchy. I think that the cucumber really makes the difference. I completely made up this recipe, so thank the Lord that it worked. I would say, looking at it as I cut into it, that it might actually benefit a little bit from a bit of mayonnaise in at least the egg layer, just to give it a little more structure. But honestly, it works well without the mayonnaise. So there is that. So I'm going to check back over here. I have to put on the glasses because, you know, getting old. Any questions about this before I move on and do the cocktail one more time for the people who came in later? You know, now I have 2 of these that I have to eat. Oh, darn. I'm really sad about that. All right, cool. So I'm going to throw up another quick video so that I can bring the cocktail ingredients out and show you one more time about that cocktail. I'm going to have to actually squeeze some citrus because I used, I have some lemon. So, but I think I'm going to squeeze some lime and try it with lime. And I'm going to do it without the food coloring this time so you can see the difference between the two. So let me go back and play you a quick video. I made it this time. So just barely, but I made it. All right, so I'm going to go back and give you the cocktail recipe one more time, but this time I'm going to be using lemon juice. So I'm going to dial back just a little bit on the citrus in the cocktail. So one more time, cocktail shaker with ice. This is a cocktail with citrus or / fruit juice, so you need to shake the cocktail. I've got a 6-ounce martini coupe that's been in the refrigerator chilling. I've got green sugar for St. Patrick's Day, Midori, and vodka. So we're going to start with 1.5 ounces of Midori. We're going to go to 1.5 ounces of vodka. Or, you know, to be fair to the other cocktail, since it was 4.5 ounces, we're going to use 2 ounces of vodka. Oh, did I say that? There we go. 2 ounces of vodka. And in this case, I'm going to have to use a spoon because I didn't put it in a horrible thing. We're going to use just 1 ounce, 1 ounce of lemon juice. Normally, I would have put that in something that I could pour, but c'est la vie. All right. I'm going to put the top on the cocktail shaker. Oops. Maybe we're going to put the top on the cocktail shaker. There we go. All right, shake. The good thing about a metal cocktail shaker is you can feel it getting colder and colder and colder. And you can kind of get the vibe of when it's done. The ice starts to change the tone of its clinking when it's done. So you're going to see it without food coloring. Again, because I'm using green and this is St. Patrick's Day, we're going to garnish with an orange wedge. So you'll see the difference between the two cocktails. The only difference is the deeper green that you get with that one drop of food coloring. This would be maybe slightly deeper, or maybe a little more yellow if you'd used orange juice, because the orange would tone down the green a little bit. But again, it's still green enough for you to go, hey, St. Patrick's Day, so let me taste this one. That's really nice. The balance of citrus is really good in this one because of the tart citrus. Dial it back. And honestly, that extra ½ ounce of vodka, primo. So you still have a 4½ ounce cocktail, but you're just using slightly different levels of ingredient because you want to dial back a little bit on the tart citrus. So I'm gonna put my glasses back on. So that's it for my demo tonight. Let me bring out everything so you can see it. So with the exception of the yogurt that I used in this, which can be soy yogurt or water, everything is vegan in these two. Obviously, this is not vegan because you're using salmon, but all the rest of the ingredients, and you have eggs in there, but you're not using any dairy. So we've stayed away from dairy in all of these except for this one, and this one can easily be dairy-free. So for the vegetarians in the group, these are awesome. For people who are vegetarian but eat fish, this could do. It's a great, easy, and this actually, you look at it and think, gosh, that takes a lot. No, it doesn't take time at all. This is the easiest thing in the world. You saw how fast I assembled that. You can do this in the morning, make however many you need for a party, stick them in the refrigerator, and you're done. If you're like me, if you're having a dinner party, you do not want things that will make you have to stay in the kitchen the entire time your guests are there before they eat, because that's no fun. So I love things like this that you can make ahead, dips that you can make ahead even the day before, and have ready so that when it comes time for the entertaining to happen, you can just miraculously bring stuff out as if you waved your Samantha and you twitched your nose and poof, there's the spread in front of everybody. So I'm looking back over to the comments. Are there any questions from anybody before we sign off for the night? I have a couple of last minute things if there's no questions. Not seeing any questions. So cool. So the party is going to stay open through Saturday. So please feel free to browse through the online catalog. If you have questions, talk to me. I'm happy to send you any additional information if you can't find it yourself, or if you just want to know anecdotal information about some of the products that I have used. I don't have every product. And I don't think anybody could possibly own every Pampered Chef product except maybe the owner of the company. But I got a lot of them. And I'm working through the new products now a little bit at a time. So I should have some of those demoed in my own head soon. The other thing is, please consider hosting your own party. I know Laura posted a post today that, if at least 3 of you book a party with me from this party, she gets a lot of cool stuff because of that. But beyond that, I think it's a lot of fun. I'm having a hugely fun time doing this. But also, one of the reasons I became a consultant in the first place was because I hosted a party in January, and I got so much free stuff from my party that it was insane. The blender was free. The air fryer was free. I mean, all of that was because I had amazing friends who were excited and purchased a lot of stuff, and I ended up with great credits for that. So it's a lot of fun. You can invite friends from all over the world because it's virtual. Hopefully we'll get back to in live parties, in-person parties soon, but I kind of like this virtual environment for this. And I just think it's a lot of fun. And I'm happy to tailor any party to any theme that you want. If you want it to be all about pork, I can make lots of pork dishes for you. If you want barbecue, I can bring out the grill. So, I can make it pretty much anything that you might like. I can try to see if I can do it for you. So send me a message. I'm happy to help out. Oh, and thanks, Adele. This was fun for me too. I think you can probably tell I'm having a good time. And the upside or downside, depending on how you look at it, when I do these demos, is I suddenly like, well, A, the cleanup is horrible, but B, I suddenly go, oh my God, I've got so much food. What am I going to do with all this food? So like I said, I'm going to be making pea soup out of this. I'm going to have this one for dinner tonight and the other one for breakfast tomorrow. This, I think I'm going to actually stir it back in and make another gratin casserole out of it because that's the easiest way to use that up, because I'm not having a party anytime soon. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, so much. I had a great time. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. And with that, I am going to sign off for the night and do some cleanup and eat. And I'll pop back on Facebook in a little while to see if anybody has questions that they've posted there. So thanks again, and special thank you to Laura for hosting the party this week and trusting me to help her have a good time with her friends. It means a lot. So I thank you all, and especially thank you, Laura. I'm going to sign off now.